Mediocre cover band guitar guy here, and I'm here to tell you this evening not to follow or join Facebook groups that are associated with music gear or models of guitars, basses, amps, or whatever if you don't like bullies. So, this is where it all started for me with these Facebook groups. I had this really nice green Strat back in around 2000, I want to say 17, and it was very heavily reliced. It was a really 60s sort of almost like a surf green color. Heavily relic, maple fretboard, played well, sounded pretty decent, but it was that whole volume knob thing. I didn't really give it a chance. And scrolling through Facebook, I came across a Fender Stratocaster page, group, as we'll say. I clicked join, my request was accepted, and I was in. And within a day of being in there, I realized something. There are a lot of people in this group that were batshit crazy. So here's what happens. You join a group and you want to fit in, especially if you're a kid, and this is exactly what happened. This young guy comes on, really young, because you can see his picture for his profile and everything on Facebook there. Joins the group, comes back in and goes, I just got my first Stratocaster. It's my first electric. I've been playing guitar for 3 years on acoustic. Got my first Strat. What's everybody using for strings? Now, if you follow any guitar page, that question gets asked once to twice a week. And you have an option. Ignore it or answer it. But answer it respectfully and responsibly. And like an adult. If you're a grown man, that's kind of an expectation, right? When you're talking to people, use your grown-up voice or your grown-up fingers to type. So the first response comes back from an admin, and it was great. First R word, because you're not allowed to use the R word anymore. I watched a video because HR made me watch one because I used the word a lot at work. And they were like, you got to watch this video because you're not allowed to use that word. So I know you're not allowed to use that word. So they used the R word. And it was another, or first R word guitar question of the day. And then about 20 other guys proceeded to bash this kid. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's got his first electric guitar, his first sort of, introduction sort of to rock and roll and like amplified guitars and music and everything else that's great about playing. Whole different ball game than playing an acoustic. And his first experience is negative from these other, and I'm not going to call you musicians because you don't deserve it, people who own guitars. And I sat there and I was like, okay, like, you know what? I've answered this question twice since I've been on this group in a day and a half. I'm going to answer it again. So I went back and said, Ernie Ball Slinkies, 10246. Congratulations on your first Strat. Have fun. That was it. And I moved on to my day and did my chores. I lived an eventful life. The question didn't make me have intrusive thoughts or anything like that. And I think eventually I might have even forgotten that I answered the question. It was insignificant, but not to these guys. It's the same thing in pedalboard. I joined a pedalboard group last year, and I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with people? These guys are brand new to music, and this is what we got to treat the new kids coming up with respect, and it's up to us to sort of do what guys did for us. Show them the way and show them that music is a community. And it's not about being like cocky assholes, excuse the language. So let's fast forward to yesterday. I remember it well. It was raining, like it's been doing for the last 2 weeks. Scrolling through Facebook, I'm a part of a bunch of Gretsch pages, and one came up that I was not a part of, and I joined it for about 3 minutes, and then I left. A guy went on the page. I'd like to say he's in his 30s. I don't know, according to his picture. Said he had an opportunity to buy a G5120. Wanted to know what everybody's thoughts were. And folks like myself said, hey, great guitar. I've got one. Use it all the time. Doesn't give me any trouble. Haven't had trouble with it in like 11, 12 years. It's perfect. You had another guy who was very sensible about it and said, hey, if this is in your budget, then you can buy the guitar, save up a little bit more money if you want to do some upgrades. You'll have a really great guitar. I suggest swapping out the pickups. You know, if you want to get that true Gretschy sound, get some Filtertrons, TV Jones in there. And one thing I do recommend and agree with this gentleman is pin the bridge. If you want to keep like your intonation going, and like I said, I play back on the bridge, so it was really hard for me. So I had to get it pinned. And that was like a great question. And then all the other questions were, hey mate, why don't you save up and buy a real Gretsch? And I thought, okay, why are you bashing this guy? This is in his budget. He may not have the budget that you had when you bought your Gretsch, or have the budget you have now to buy another Gretsch. This is his budget. This is what he's looking at. This is what he either wants to start off with to see if he's going to like it, or this is what he can afford. Whatever the reason, why bash him? Right? You're wasting your time. You're this, you're that. They're garbage. I had one that wouldn't stay in tune. I had one I didn't like the sound. And a lot of other guys, save your money, buy more expensive, buy more expensive, buy more expensive. A lot of those guys probably never even played one of these to be able to compare it. And I'm not going to sit here and say, because I have played high-end Gretsches. I've played like, you know, Tennessee Roses. I played White Falcons. I played a few White Falcons, actually. It's depressing now to think about it because it's the guitar I want to own most over anything. But I've played a lot of higher-end Gretsches, models that I don't really know the numbers to. I'm sorry. But, you know, and the quality was better than this. You know, the Bigsby was a more expensive Bigsby, so it was smoother, you know. It was like a feather, you know, like it was perfect. The machine heads were different. Everything, you know, it sounded chimier. But I've had this guitar for 11 years, I guess, and it's probably seen more highway miles than most of these guys' cars have. I've gigged exclusively with it from 2012 to 2020 for 8 years. This was my only guitar I used. Now I had backups, but unless we started doing like AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, I had a guitar that was tuned down a half a step. And of course, there's the whole access up here. So I needed something I could get at these frets, right? But I used this, like we did Dolly Parton on it. We did anything from Dolly Parton to Charlie Pride to, like I said, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC. We did all those things, and in between, like all the classic rock, the Greg Kin Band, ZZ Top. I've played everything on this guitar. I played Judas Priest on this friggin' guitar lots of times, Living After Midnight. This was the only guitar I used. Quiet Riot, Come On Feel the Noise. I did that solo on this guitar. So before you make those comments, if you don't know, and I'm going to admit a couple things here now too. I had one of these before I got this one. So the story on this guitar, I got it on my 41st birthday. Tammy sussed it out. I had one before. I did not like the way it sounded or played. I'll be 100% honest. And I had it for about a year. I bought it at Reed's Music, and I was like, this guitar is not for me, and I traded it for a Telly. And we started doing a rockabilly project, and I was playing Tellys in it, and I said, I really need to get another Gretsch. I shouldn't have got rid of the other Gretsch. I was saying it not out loud at the time. And then I had said to my partner, I need to get another Gretsch. So my birthday was coming. She sussed this one out for me. God love her. Also from Reed's. And the only thing I've had to do with this guitar, I added strap locks because this guitar is extensively gigged. I'm telling you, a lot of gigs. It needs soon to be refretted. The last setup I had done a little while ago, the guy at the music shop said, you're going to need to get that thing refretted. Is playing a gig, she got knocked over on the stand, and the synthetic nut broke, and I had to get another one put in, and bought it to Reed's Music again, and the tech, Daryl, that was there at the time, asked me, he said, like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't really know. I said, do you have any suggestions? He goes, are you gigging with the guitar regularly? I said, I'm gigging on it. And I told him what I was doing. He said, I recommend that you get a graphite nut, intonation and tuning. And I'm glad I did. Like, it sounds cooler to say, you know, well, I've got a, you know, bone nut on there. But I needed practicality more than sounding like I was a gear snob, right? That's the only thing I've had to do with this guitar. I've been toying with the idea over the last couple of weeks of maybe sticking some new pickups in here. And I wanted to replace everything with gold hardware, but somebody told me that it's just going to tarnish and go back to silver at some point anyway, or peel and chip and do all that stuff, because I'm using the guitar a lot. It goes to every gig that I play. But I guess the point I'm making is with these gear pages, if you don't want to get bullied, stay away or watch from afar. If you don't like bullies, you're going to get stomach sick sometimes. and laugh, and you're gonna want to tell people like stop making out with your sister. It's hard. It's really hard. Um, so just be happy with what you got and know how great it is. And if you don't like something, sell it. That's all I can really tell you. But that's been my experience with these pages. Don't be negative to young folks. They're coming up, they're learning, and they get excited, or somebody gets excited because it's their first this or that. Don't dash their good mood. Don't their hopes, or if it's a dream, or if it's a milestone, or if it's a bucket list item. Don't shit on it. That's all. Let's be positive. Let's treat everybody positively, right? And if somebody asks what gauge strings you want, and it's like the sixth time that day that's been answered, don't answer it, or tell them you're using 11 through 96s because you're cool. Whatever. Just don't rag on kids, man, or people in general. Just don't, because negativity is not what you need when you're playing music. This is for everybody. It's supposed to be positive, and let's keep it that way on your pages. Okay? Okay. All right, kids. Thanks for tuning.